Hi friends, welcome back. Again in this video we are going to cover some important personalities in the history subject which can come in the UPSC prelims examination. Guys, every year at least one personality based question comes in the prelims examination. So in this video we will cover all the important personalities which have been in news which can be asked by the UPSC prelims examination.
Welcome to yet another important history session where we will be discussing some of the most important social reformers of modern India. First, let us discuss what these socio-religious reform movements were and what necessitated them. If you see, the socio-religious reform movements in the 19th century India aimed to modernize Indian society through social restructuring. So all these movements recognized the interconnection between religious and social issues and were led by individuals who sought to reform and revive society. The British invasion of India exposed flaws and shortcomings in Indian societal institutions, which led to a desire for change. And this Western education had a significant impact on Indian society. So this led to awakening and a recognition for the need for reform. Okay, so the British rule in India basically created conditions that were favorable to intellectual growth and the dissemination of information about social practices that needed to be addressed. Okay, so these thoughtful Indians, who got education from the Western institutions, they began to identify the defects of their society and they started seeking ways to remove them through legislation and social work. Okay, some of the Indians embraced modern Western thought. They saw it as a key to the regeneration of their society, and this was something that was particularly influenced by modern science and humanist ideologies. And moreover, the emerging capitalist class, working class, and modern intelligentsia also demanded modernization for their own interests. Okay, so this is the basic reason behind the various socio-religious reform movements which threw up a multitude of socio-religious reformers in the 19th and early 20th century. Now, let us look at the various personalities we are going to discuss during this lecture. So apart from the personalities mentioned here, we'll also be discussing a few more eminent individuals during the course of this lecture. So we're going to discuss the leaders of the Vaikam Satyagraha and Temple Entry movement. We're going to look at Jyotiba Phule and his wife Savitriba Phule, who can be associated with the Satyashodak Samaj. And we're going to look at Periyar while discussing about Vaikam Satyagraha. We'll discuss Swami Dayanand Saraswati and his Arya Samaj. We'll look at the founder of the Aligarh Muslim University, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. And then we're going to discuss the leaders related to the Child Marriage Abolition Act, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar and Rukmabai. Rukmabai also has the distinction of becoming the first female medical practitioner from the country. And we are going to look at the Harbilas Sarda and his contribution to the Sarda Act. And finally, we'll finish by looking at Sri Aurobindo. Okay, during the course of our lecture, we'll also be looking at others like Swami Vivekananda. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Now, let us begin by first discussing about the Vaikam Satyagraha. Okay, so if you see, this Vaikam Satyagraha took place in the kingdom of Travancore in the early 20th century. Okay, so lower castes, including Elavas, were actually barred from entering temples and public areas near them due to caste-based discrimination. Okay, so there was this person named T.K. Madhavan. So this T.K. Madhavan was an Elava leader. So he was the one who initiated the agitation for temple entry rights. Okay, and this movement that was initiated by T.K. Madhavan gained support from the Congress leaders and from E.V. Ramasamy Periyar, and activists from different communities. Okay, so the protest basically began with activists defying prohibitions and attempting to walk near the Vaikam temple. Okay, so despite opposition and reluctance from the ruling Maharaja of Travancore, the movement gained momentum and the support of Indian National Congress. So even Mahatma Gandhi visited Vaikam and held discussion with all involved parties. Okay, and if you see, the Satyagraha involved peaceful protests, fasting, and patriotic songs. After all this had happened, a compromise was reached, allowing access to 3 out of the 4 roads surrounding the temples, but the temple itself remained restricted to the usage of the people from the so-called lower caste. Okay, so the movement showcased unity across caste lines and the effectiveness of Gandhian methods of protest. So this movement revitalized the morale of the Congress party in Kerala and contributed to the broader movement against caste-based discrimination. And it was this movement that played a very important role with regard to the Temple Entry Proclamation Act of 1936. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, the Temple Entry Proclamation Act of 1936 basically removed the ban on entry into temples for the marginalized caste. So it was this movement which played a very important role in that regard. Okay, so one can easily say that this Vaikam Satyagraha was something that brought untouchability and caste oppression to the forefront of political discourse in India. Okay, now when we look at the Vaikam Satyagraha, we are also supposed to look at the temple entry movement in Kerala. Okay, the 1920s, okay, from 1920 to 1930, this temple entry movement had reached its peak in Kerala. Okay, so the important leaders of this temple entry movement were Sri Narayana Guru, Kumaran Asan, KP Kesava, Kelappan, and TK Madhavan. Okay, TK Madhavan, we saw him already. Okay, so they were the ones who played a very important role. Okay, so if you see TK Madhavan, okay, he was the editor of Deshabhimani. Okay, his work was Deshabhimani. So he took up the issue of temple entry with the Travancore administration. Okay, so when we see about Vaikam Satyagraha, we cannot ignore the role played by Periyar. Okay, E.V. Ramasamy, who is affectionately known as Periyar. So we look at something about Periyar here. Okay, so if you see Periyar was basically born in Erode, and he was known for being the hero of the Vaikam Satyagraha. Okay, Periyar earned the moniker of hero of Vaikam Satyagraha. Okay, and he was a radical social reformer, and he was a little bit on an opposite side with Gandhi. Okay, because he did not see eye to eye with Gandhi with regard to the Varnashrama Dharma. Okay, and he was known as Tandai Periyar. Tandai means father and Periyar means great soul. Okay, and initially he was part of the Congress, but at a later stage came out of the Congress and he started attacking the caste system. He abandoned the Hindu mythology. Okay, and he also advocated for the burning of Manudharma Shastra and the texts of Ramayana and Mahabharata. He was someone who believed in equality and dignity. Okay, and he was an iconoclast. Who's an iconoclast? So iconoclast was a person who basically detested idol worship, and he was someone who gave up his caste names. Okay, and he was someone who brought in the self-respect marriages. Okay, and then he also was critical of the patriarchal norms in the society. Fine. So talking about his important newspapers that he started, in the year 1925 he started his paper Kudiyarasu. Okay, and in 1939 he was elected as the president of the Justice Party. In fact, this Justice Party in the year 1944 merged with the Self-Respect League, and it came to be known as Dravidar Kalagam, which is the forerunner of all the major Dravidian parties of today like DMK and AIDMK. Okay, and he was awarded by the UNESCO. Okay, and the UNESCO described him as the prophet of the new age and the Socrates of Southeast Asia. Okay, and he also started a journal which was Kudiyarasu. Okay, his journal was Kudiyarasu. I already told you that, and so that's the greatness of Periyar. Okay, that's something that you have to know about Periyar. Now, having seen about Periyar, it's now time for us to look at another great leader in Jyotirao Govindrao Phule. Okay, so Mahatma Jyotirao Phule is someone we have to look at. Okay, so he was from Maharashtra. So he condemned the caste system. Okay, and he was a champion for education for the lower caste. Okay, and for the women. Fine. So he wanted the imparting of primary education to the masses. Okay, along with his wife, he founded a girls' school in Pune in 1851. Okay, and he was also the first person to start a school for the untouchables in the year 1854. And he was also a great pioneer of the widow remarriage movement in Maharashtra. In fact, he provided shelter and protection to the widows. Okay, but the first thing that should come to your mind with regard to Jyotirao Phule is the initiation of the Satyashodak Samaj. What is this Satyashodak Samaj? This was started in 1873. So this 2023-24 was the 150th anniversary of the initiation of Satyashodak Samaj. So Satyashodak Samaj means Society for Finding Truth. Okay, so this was a society to attain equal rights for the people of lower caste. Okay, and to propagate his ideas, he used the print medium effectively. So some of his important works included Deen Bandhu, Gulam Gin, okay, and then several other works were written in Marathi, like Isara. Okay, Isara was a pamphlet, fine, uh, that he basically published. Okay, so these are the important things that you'll keep in mind with regard to Jyotirao Phule. So when we talk about Jyotirao Phule, the contribution of his wife Savitriba Phule is also something that should not be brushed under the carpet. So the Savitriba Phule, along with her husband, was a great pioneer with regards to the women's education. Okay, and in fact she has the distinction of becoming the first female teacher and the first Indian headmistress. So she opened more school for girls and marginalized communities like Shudras and Adi Shudras. In fact, Pune University is named after Savitriba Phule as a tribute for her advocacy of women's education. Okay, and you'll remember that it was Savitriba Phule who started the uh, Bal Hatya Pratibandhak Griha. Okay, what is this Bal Hatya Pratibandhak Griha? This was a care center for children affected by issues like rape, sati, and female infanticide. Okay, and she also advocated for intercaste marriages, widow remarriages, and eradication of child marriage. And moreover, this Satyashodak Samaj acted as a platform for promoting social equity regardless of caste, religion, or class hierarchies. Okay, and together with her husband Savitriba Phule introduced Satyashodak marriage. So this Satyashodak marriage rejected Brahminical rituals and emphasized on education and equality. Okay, and this couple basically did a lot of relief work during famines and epidemics as well. In fact, she went on to publish her collection of poems as Kavya Phule in 1854, and she also wrote the famous poem Go Get Education to inspire oppressed and backward classes to pursue education. Okay, but you know what, both these individuals, they missed out on one aspect. They saw the British rule in India as progressive, which could get all the ills of the society rid here in the country. Okay, so next up we're going to look at Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Okay, when you talk about Swami Dayanand Saraswati, the first thing that should come to your mind is the Arya Samaj. Okay, Swami Dayanand Saraswati started the Arya Samaj in the year 1875 in Bombay. Okay, so later the headquarters was established at Lahore. First it was established at Bombay. Okay, so Dayanand Saraswati, you'll remember the slogan that he gave, go back to the Vedas, because he believed in the infallibility of the Vedas. Okay, he considered Vedas as the original seed of Hinduism. Okay, and he considered Vedas to be India's rock of ages. Remember these slogans, India's rock of ages. And he also blamed the Puranas. Puranas basically were later Hindu scriptures. Okay, he blamed the Puranas for spreading evil practices like idol worship and superstitions in Hindu religion. Okay, and he provided his own interpretation of the Vedas in his famous work Satyartha Prakash. The Satyartha Prakash means true exposition. Okay, so he was against idolatry, polytheism, superstitions, and sacrifices. Okay, so he also rejected the domination of Brahmin priestly class over social and religious life. Fine, and he was someone who believed that the Varna system should be based on occupation and not based on birth. Okay, so important literary works of Dayanand Saraswati includes Satyarth Prakash, Veda Bhashya Bhumika, okay, and Veda Bhashya. Okay, these are the important works of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Fine. So with regard to his Arya Samaj, he basically through this Arya Samaj started the Dayanand Anglo-Vedic institutions. Okay, and he went on to start the Gurukul Pathashala at Haridwar. Okay, So he also started the Shuddhi movement. You have to basically look at the Shuddhi movement that he started. Okay, and he also raised the slogan India for the Indians. So that's the significance of Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Then coming to Swami Vivekananda, you know pretty well, he was the great disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay, so he was a great disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and he traveled extensively within India. Okay, in fact, he was sponsored by the Raja of Ramnad. Okay, till today we remember him for that 1893 speech that he made at Chicago at the Parliament of World Religions. He represented Hinduism, and he addressed the need for a healthy balance between spiritualism and materialism in that speech. Okay, and not only that, he published a book called Raja Yoga. Okay, and he emerged as a preacher of neo-Hinduism. Okay, and he was someone who denounced social evils prevalent in the Hindu society like caste system, rituals, and superstitions. Okay, and he also he also opposed the oppression of poor by the rich. Okay, and he was someone who initiated the Ramakrishna mission. Till today, we have the Ramakrishna mission hogging limelight. So its initiation was carried out by Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so that's the significance of Swami Vivekananda. So he made this famous slogan: "The best way to serve God was to serve mankind." Okay, so that's something that we remember Swami Vivekananda for. Some of his important literary works includes the Bartaman Bharat, Lectures from Colombo to Almora, and East and the West. Okay, so he started this Ramakrishna mission in Calcutta in 1897. Okay, and other monasteries also were started. Okay, so these are the important aspects of Swami Vivekananda that you have to touch upon. Okay, next person we're going to look at is Sir Syed Ahmed Khan. Okay, Sir Syed Ahmed Khan was born on October 17th of 1817. Okay, so he was born in a wealthy family which had ties to the Mughal court. Okay, so this person was well read. He had great education in his early years. His education was in Persian, Arabic, Urdu, and he was also someone who worked as a civil servant, a journalist, and educationalist. Okay, and the 1857 revolt had a significant impact on Syed Ahmed Khan's life. Okay, so during that time he wrote a pamphlet titled "The Causes of the Indian Revolt" to explain the reason behind it from a narrative perspective. Okay, so he's considered to be one of the founders of the two nation theory. Okay, which asserts that Hindus and Muslims cannot coexist as one nation. He's one of the founders of that theory. Okay, so Syed Ahmed Khan was knighted by the British in 1888, and his notable contributions were in the field of education for Muslims. He's remembered for that Aligarh movement. Okay, so he believed that Muslims needed education to progress. Fine, and he started the Aligarh Muslim University. Okay, and he authored several writings, including the Causes of Indian Revolt and the Commentary on the Holy Bible. These are some of the important works that were written by him. Okay, and that's something about Syed Ahmed Khan. And then the next important personality that we're going to look at is Sri Aurobindo. Okay, so Aurobindo was again someone who passed the Indian Civil Service examination. Okay, so he failed the horsemanship test, so that prevented him from joining the service. Okay, and he worked for Baroda State Service for 13 years. Okay, and eventually at the end he became principal of the Baroda State College. He wrote several articles for newspapers like Bande Mataram and the Bengali weekly Yugantar. In fact, he is someone who was associated with the extremist faction of the Indian National Congress. Okay, and he was also one of the founders of the Anushilan Samiti, a youth club that protested against British atrocities. Okay, and he participated in the INC. He was close to the extremists, and he was also charged in the Alipur bomb case. Okay, and for that he spent 1 year in solitary confinement. Okay, so he was released with the help of Deshbandhu Chitranjan Das. Okay, C.R. Das. And after that he turned to spiritualism and left British India in 1910 to settle in Pondicherry. and there he founded the Aurobindo Ashram in 1926. Okay, for the rest of his life, he lent emphasis on developing his internal yoga, and he played a very important role in increasing the spiritual aspects of the people. Okay, some of his major works are essays on Gita, the life divine, and Savitri, a legend and a symbol. So these are some of the important works that he came up with. The next person we are going to look at is Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Okay, so Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar was a Sanskrit scholar and a principal of Sanskrit College in Calcutta. Okay, so he was the one who opened the gates of college for the Western thoughts and non-Brahmin students. Fine. So Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar is credited for organizing the first widow remarriage in Bengal. Okay, so he also ran 35 girls' schools uh, out of his own expense. That was the significance of this personality. Okay, and he devised a new Bengali premier and evolved a new prose style. Okay, and his efforts culminated with the passing of the Hindu Widow Remarriage Act of 1856. Okay, and he also served as the secretary of the Bethune School that was founded in Calcutta in 1849, and he led the movement for women's education. Okay, and he also opposed child marriage and polygamy. His important literary works were Bahu Bibaha and Bidaba Bibaha. These are the two important literary works that he came up with. Okay, that's about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. And then the next person we are going to look at is Harbilas Sarda. Harbilas Sarda played a very important role with regard to the passage of the Sarda Act. Okay, with regard to the passage of the Sarda Act. This Harbilas Sarda was a judge and a member of the Arya Samaj. Okay, so the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929 is known as the Sarda Act after this person. He was the one who sponsored it. Okay, so as per the act, the age of marriage for girls was fixed at 14 years and for boys it was 18 years. Okay, so later this Sarda Act was amended in 1978 to prescribe the age of marriage for a girl and boy as 18 and 21 years respectively. Okay, so that's the significance of Harbilas Sarda. Child Marriage Restraint Act was his brainchild. Okay, and then the next person you're going to look at is Pandita Ramabai. Okay, Pandita Ramabai, she had worked for education of women and their emancipation. She founded the Sharda Sadan, which is the home for learning. Okay, and then the Sharda Sadan basically was a home for learning for the widows. Okay, and in fact, she also founded the Arya Mahila Samaj. Okay, and she traveled to the US to attend the graduation from the Women's Medical College. That's the significance of this particular woman, Pandita Ramabai. And then coming to Fatima Sheikh, she was a pioneering teacher, anti-caste activist, and social reformer in the 19th century. So she befriended Savitribai Phule, and she and Savitribai Phule opened the first girls' school in India in 1848. Okay, so Fatima Sheikh, along with her brother, stood with the Phules as many from their particular community abandoned them. Okay, and due to pressure from upper caste, Jyotirao Phule's father evicted Savitribai and Jyotirao from their family home, leading to them finding shelter at the house of Mian Usman Sheikh. Okay, so no surviving documents of Fatima Sheikh unfortunately are available today. Okay, we just know only this much about her. Okay, so she's considered to be a feminist icon in pre-independent India. The next person is Dr. Rukmabai. So Rukmabai was basically forced into an engagement and a subsequent marriage at the age of 12. So she broke that marriage, and later she pursued a medical career with the support of her well-wishers. Okay, she studied medicine in England, becoming the second Indian woman doctor with both degrees. Okay, she worked as a medical officer, formed a Red Cross society, and advocated for the abolition of Parda. So that's something that we'll remember about this particular person. And the next leader we're going to look at, reformer we're going to look at, is Rajaram Mohan Roy. Okay, so I don't have to say much about him. He was a preacher of monotheism. He's considered to be the father of Indian Renaissance. He's considered to be the maker of modern India before independence. So when I say Rajaram Mohan Roy, the Brahmo Samaj must come to your mind for sure. It was started in 1828, and he had also advocated for Hindu-Muslim unity, and he was someone who established the first Indian newspaper called Samvat Kaumudi. Okay, Samvat Kaumudi was the first Indian newspaper that was established by him, and he was a great personality about whom we revere still today. Okay, so that's about Rajaram Mohan Rai. Other things you can look at the card and you can get to know. And then you have Sri Narayana Guru. So Narayana Guru was a leader of the Elava caste. Elava caste means untouchable caste. Okay, he basically established the SNDP movement in 1903. Okay, Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Okay, so he was called by the name Nanu. Okay, so that's something very important about him. He played a very important role with regard to the temple entry movement. Okay, the next person is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Okay, that's the last person we are going to look at. So he was given the title of Frontier Gandhi. He was also known as Badshah Khan. Okay, so he founded an organization of non-violent revolutionaries known as Red Shirts or Kudai Khidmatgar. So he opposed partition as well. Okay, so he participated in the non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and Quit India movement. So the newspapers that he started included ones like Paktun, which was in Pashto language, and later he published it as Das Rosa. Okay, and he was one of the two foreigners to have been honored with the Bharat Ratna. The other one being Nelson Mandela. So he was given the Bharat Ratna in the year 1987. Okay, so there are other personalities as well like Aurangzeb, Chhatrapati Shivaji, and Kanoji Angre. So about all these three personalities, I've done separate videos. So you can basically go through those videos to get to know more about them. So that's it from our discussion for the day. For aspirants taking up the prelims 2024, we have covered most of the topics in our Lakshya 2024 program. So you can go through them by following the link in the description. For laying your hands on our Optima cards, you can contact the number in bottom of the cards, as well as in the description box under the video you can find access. So we run a current affairs session in the weekend, so you can basically join them as well. So for more such videos, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for listening patiently all this while. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.